Well, you know, I'm a visual person, so it's unfortunate I don't have a Sharpie here and I can draw a picture, but I mean, as we look at West Bend, I mean, if we're a simple, and we're not, but imagine if we're a square. You know, we've kind of got a school then, Green Tree, I'll call that the north, and McLean is kind of central. But we're really leaving out then kind of our eastern, you know, schools. We've got a problem on the east side of the city, I guess, lack of a better word, and then we've got Jackson to the south. So, you know, both Fair Park and Decorah are kind of on the eastern edge of our community. So, I mean, if we were looking at doing something, I don't know what the percentages of kids who bus versus walk to those two schools, but I mean, I think, you know, we'd have to look at, if we're gonna build a new school, I think it needs to be on the eastern side of the city somewhere. I don't know the land, particularly that might be available, or if we look at, you know, closing Fair Park and rebuilding on the Decorah site. I don't know if that could be scraped, I don't know what the acreage is there off the top of my head, but I'm sure someone like Dave Ross would probably know that.
Like it's maybe about 13 acres at Decorah?
Maybe, okay. And what's Fair Park?
About 9.
I mean, and Fair Park's kind of, you know, geographically, I think it has some limitations with the courthouse being next door, and I know the drop off and all that stuff is kind of ugly up there. So, I mean, as we're looking at that, I guess, I just wanna throw that out, that we wouldn't wanna leave the eastern part of our city high and dry and say, hey, I think we built something on Paradise, and, you know, that wouldn't accommodate them. So that would just be my commentary about the east side of the city.
You know, so if we can come together, we can bring back some data based on what you're talking about, as far as some things for you, but is that what you would like us to do? Would you like us to look at a couple, 2 or 3 different options? One would be to start the plan to see a new elementary in Jackson, and what size that would be, and get some estimates for that. The second part would be, what would the cost be to renovate and add on to one of those 2 facilities? And the third option would be, what would be the cost to replace those 2 facilities with one facility someplace on the east end, probably not necessarily northeast, but not all the way south part, not down too far south, you know, and kind of go from there. But that seemed like that would be some information that the board would like to see.
I think option number 3 is, personally don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think our community would do a referendum for a new school in Jackson and a new school here, and maybe throw in renovations at the high school. Now you're looking at.
Yep, no question. And so that's, you know, you can do some nice things with renovating one of those buildings, but you still have a 50 to 60-year-old building that's maybe not as structurally sound as a McLean. You certainly have to do what you have to do to make it a new long-term facility, but I can bring those 2 together with the idea that I personally think Joel is maybe correct in that it's gonna be a really hard sell to do 2 new buildings and do the work necessary at the high school all at the same time.
Dave, could you remind us, in the citizens study that they did, and I know you provided the information, the grade or the grade level that you gave to Decorah and Fair Park, were they not like?
Pretty low.
I mean, I think Jackson was the worst, correct? And
yes,
then
Jackson was the worst, Fair Park was 2nd worst, and Decorah was 3rd worst.
Nancy, that's the SCI number?
Yes.
yes,
Decorah is 20%, and Fair Park is 31%.
and Jackson was.
Jackson, 36%.
And the reason Fair Park is lower than Decorah, a couple different ones, but one is the steam system as opposed to the hot water system that we know that it's not too far down the road and we're gonna have to replace some of the heat system in Fair Park because it's a steam and it becomes difficult for us to maintain, very expensive, and that's one of the things that if we continue to keep it a Fair Park, that's a pretty big ticket item, more so than some of the other window projects or roof projects, other things.
So kind of with Joel's comment, and I realize this might be a lot of work, so please feel free to say, heck no, that's not gonna work. But, you know, if we looked at this and we said, okay, closing Fair Park, we save, I don't know, that would be a Dave Ross question. What do we save in utilities? What do we save in whatever? What are we gonna be able to sell that potential property for, dollar-wise? And then if we looked at Decorah, I guess I'd like to see what are when we did this comparison for Jackson and we said, okay, to remodel Jackson to get it to what we would hopefully want it to be versus build new, you know, really that kind of came out to be very close. I mean, I remember we weren't off by, you know, 10 million or anything, it was pretty close. So I guess I'd like to see that kind of a comparison. What would it take to, and when I say get Decorah to what we need, I'm talking update major systems and really get it to be almost brand new. But, you know, if Joel's idea is that, you know, the appetite from the public is that we can't build 2 new schools, I guess I wanna know as a board member that it really is financially a sound decision to remodel an old building, that needs a lot of updates versus building new. Now, I am certainly the queen of refurbishing and do it yourself, okay, those of you that know me. So I'm not all about just building new, but I certainly want to not throw good money at a bad project, and I certainly don't wanna be the taxpayer 10 years from now when the board's coming to them again going, hey, guess what? We really needed to do more than what we could afford 5 years ago, and now it costs 5 times more. So I'd really like to make some sound decisions and have good information on what the comparisons are.
We will try to have that available ASAP. And, but there's two other questions that I think we can address, even though we're a little past the time, but is there any concern with the board for us to move Rolfs if we have the space available someplace else for that to happen?
No.
We have visited with the people at Rolfs, we've talked to Sharon, I've talked to Emily, I've talked to others. I'd like to be able to do it for the 2021 school year. I don't have that space available. We're halfway there, 3/4 of the way, but not all the way. So at this point in time, we have scheduled a meeting to talk in Silverbrook is probably the most logical place for that. We would take a house in Silverbrook and turn it into our Head Start program. We think that there is space available that's one level, would be an excellent addition, and we can do that. We can't do that until the 21-22 school year. But we would plan for it this year, next year, so that it's a seamless move when that happens. The second part was question number 4, is this facility here? If we had the space available to move this facility, and maybe it's not all in one spot, maybe, the business office, the HR department, and the superintendent's office is in Badger, and someplace else is, the next one is someplace else. Is there any concern, and that can't happen quite as early as Rolfs, but is that something that we should start looking at as a possible move as well?
Well, I guess I'm not, first of all, I'm not opposed to either of the moves, or I guess that there's 3 possible
Yep.
scenarios. I guess I'd like to know the same thing. I mean, it's obviously, it sounds like Rolfs is an easier move. There's gonna have to be some remodeling to move the business office to Badger, I assume, you'd probably flip in a classroom or something.
Yep.
So I guess as a board member, I'd like to know what those costs are. Same for if you were to move other departments to other locations. I guess I'd like to know what the potential remodeling cost would be versus what the operations costs are here.
One of the things that we even have talked about is if we moved Rolfs, the Head Start program out, would we take that facility and move part of our student program that we have down at this level? We move some of the other things over to Rolfs as part of our move, and then move the rest someplace else, just because I don't know if there's a lot of value in the Rolfs building, just based on the location. It's not a bad building, it's just based on the location, if that's a very sellable commercial piece of property, where if we move from here to there, and then some of this went someplace else, this piece of property, location-wise, is a much better facility. And so maybe there's some more value to, and that's down the road a ways, and I think the Rolfs part, without moving anything else other than Rolfs, we can do that in 2 years if you are okay with us at least investigating that possible move. We would do that real soon.